This is a Minecraft discussion video about the new Sulfur and Cinnabar blocks added in this new Minecraft update 1.26. This video can be a discussion about the new Sulfur Cave blocks and where they belong in building. First, I wanted to look at the textures of the blocks next to one of the most common building blocks, cobblestone and grass. I don't see a great connection between these two, but it doesn't look too bad. Over in this direction, I have a list of blocks I wanted to compare the yellowish, greenish tinge that the sulfur block has. See, it's not quite like sponge, definitely not like gold, definitely not like the yellow wool. There might be some connection between this block and the terracotta in yellow. And there's not a noisy texture on the concrete compared to that. And birch wood, it looks nice, but it lacks a lot of those green specks that you see on the sulfur. And I just have the end stone here, as well as the shulker. Over this way, I wanted to see how it might look as a ground paving tile. I actually quite like that as an idea. Right here, I wanted to show other blocks that sort of have a similar, sort of like, oh, there's lines going down across here, like in the gold, and similar colors, and it's similar to a full block of lapis in a way, and it's kind of complementary. And this is the closest light source, the ochre frog light. It might fit in well with that if you plan to build around that. This way, I have it compared to these wood pillars. How you would build a lot in survival and put pillars of these logs up as posts. And place bricks around it, and I wanted to see which one looks the best out of all these. Let's start over here. I think the bamboo has the most similar color, and now the purple outside of cherry is very contrasting, which you might like. But also, it's not very similar, unlike the outside of mangrove, but it has a similar greenish effect and these horizontal lines share a bit there. One of the most jarring next to each other is dark oak and this one. The green of jungle wood next to sulfur bricks is alright. I don't get why you would use birch next to it. Spruce is not bad. And of course, oak wood is a classic, and it doesn't look too bad. That's a middle brown color. It fits with a lot of different shades and darkness and lightness. Also, to bring attention back to Cinnabar, I quite like it as a background, connected to striped mangrove. Red colored on red background. Looks quite nice. As beams across here. My next stop is this ground texture piece that I made. I started out with a spiral of the cinnabar and just kept placing around other natural stone blocks. And I think it looks quite nice how there's a slight pattern that you can follow with your eyes, but also it looks very random. And I connected the red cinnabar and the red netherrack. Those look pretty good next to each other. And I added magma blocks to give the effect that this could be the surface of a volcano. With different stages of cooling and deterioration. It's quite neat. And now, I must introduce you to my rainbow of the ugliest blocks in Minecraft. Now, I might be wondering, and you might be wondering too, and I might be wondering, and you might be wondering too, what could possibly be a good build we can do with these blocks? I quite like the cinnabar, and I used it very much in this ancient style fort. I can imagine crossing through the red flowers, and you see a fort just as red in the distance. And you must enter it. And you might want to leave. It might be scary in here.
Ha ha!
Might be really, really scared. It could be the scariest place ever. I started to think, what other blocks could work in between this color scheme of red and yellow, and of course, brown seems to go with much of anything. And I built this awful hut. For one person may live here. And over here I just kind of got wacky. Started building a tower up. Different roof styles. There's something about the mangrove trapdoors that I quite like, both alongside the cinnabar and the sulfur bricks. It almost has an orangey, yellow, brownish ring inside of it. And it dilutes it. I was also looking at a possible gate design. I found this purplish crimson wood. It looked good. This might have a stack of wood from another world right next to your weird tower. window.
Ha.
You know, now that I'm thinking of it, this color kind of reminds me of something. I have not tried the effect of the sulfur pools yet. Whoa. I guess I am getting quite nauseous from this.